I have spent the past few years of my life just really leveling up and trying to be my highest version and reaching my goals, but most importantly, healing my traumas. And now that I'm more leveled up, now that I've healed myself, there are just certain friendship dynamics that I'm not really interested in maintaining or pursuing. And in this video, I wanted to share some of the things that I look for in women when deciding whether or not to be friends with them, whether to keep them at a distance, maybe maintain like acquaintance status, but not necessarily bring them deep into my inner world. So let's go ahead and get into it. For those of you guys who are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Jasmine. The very first type of woman that I'm not necessarily interested in making friends with is the woman who is constantly comparing herself to me or the things that I have accomplished, the things that I have, whatever it is. I'm not with the comparison crap anymore, okay? I feel like people who genuinely like you, they don't need to compare themselves. And I think, as humans, we all have some level of comparison, right? Especially like with social media, which is why I do my best to not be on social. I'm only on social to post. I am not scrolling Instagram anymore. I'm not scrolling Facebook anymore. And I am not scrolling TikTok anymore because comparison is the thief of joy. But you have to be self-aware. And I have reached a very high level of self-awareness. And I recognize when I find myself in a toxic loop of comparing myself to others. I feel like a woman who is constantly comparing herself to me, she doesn't have that level of self-awareness. And that shows there are things in her life that she's not necessarily happy with, because if she was, she wouldn't feel the need to compare. Also, too, I have noticed with certain friendship dynamics that I've tried to form in the past, people don't really want to understand what it took for you to get to where you are, right? People who I've tried to become friends with, they don't look at the sacrifices that I've made to be a full-time entrepreneur. They don't look at, or they don't even care to ask about how many, restless nights I've had stressing or crying or wondering if my vision is even going to happen. They don't want to know about the fact that I am very disciplined and, I don't eat certain foods, and that's how I was able to maintain my weight loss these past 3 years. They don't care about any of that. The only thing that they see and the only thing that they compare themselves to is the finished product. And it's just, when you start to notice that someone is constantly comparing themselves to you, it subtly destroys the friendship because they can't be genuinely happy for you. They can't celebrate you authentically because they are constantly comparing themselves to you. They are looking at your world and your results, and then they are basically telling themselves that they're not good enough. They're not on their shit, right? And there's nothing wrong with being inspired by your friends. I think that being inspired by your friends is a beautiful thing. Like, I would love to have friendships where I am truly inspired by that woman, whether it's with her physique, whether it's with her business, whether it's with her relationships, whether it's with the way she parents her children, like whatever it is. Maybe it's her ambition. Maybe it's the way she knows how to save money. Like, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by somebody, but there's a fine line between inspiration and comparison. And what I have noticed in my own life, especially these past few years, is when women start to compare themselves, then they start trying to one-up you. So you might, I'm trying to give like a vague example. Maybe you're sharing, oh, my Instagram reel hit 2 million views. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited. My first fitness reel hit 2 million views. They can't really celebrate that because they hear you and they see it, and now they're subconsciously thinking, dang, like, I can't do that, right? So instead of them being genuinely happy for you, they'll do things like, oh, I have a friend and their reels get 10 million views. Or, yeah, I was thinking about doing fitness content too. It's like they always have to shift the focus from just celebrating you to either talking about themselves or talking about someone that they know. And that's not healthy. Because I truly believe that in healthy friendships, you should be able to celebrate your friend. Why would you want somebody in your circle? Why would you want to communicate with someone who cannot be happy for you? Because that's really what I think. Like, if someone is constantly comparing, they can't really be happy for you because there's things in their life that they're not happy with. Is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned with just dealing with people. I learned this when I started my business. I used to always expect people who I knew to support my content and support my business. And I would get so butthurt if they didn't. And I'm like, well, why are they not supporting my content? Why are they not liking? Why are they not sharing? Like, what is wrong with me? Why are they not supporting my ideas? But I had to realize I was asking people to do things for me that they don't even do for themselves. Most people don't even support their own goals. Like, how many times or how many people do you know who had a goal? Maybe they wanted to start a business. Maybe they wanted to buy a house. Maybe they wanted to get married. They had goals within their own life that they didn't even follow through with. And then you expect them to support you, but they won't even support themselves. It's not going to happen. And I had to accept that about people. Like, you can't expect people to do for you what they don't do for themselves. The only people who can support you, who are close to you, are other people who, they feel confident within themselves. They are where they want to be, or they're actively working towards it. These are people who may not know you as well, so your light doesn't shine as bright on their world because they're at a distance, right? But people who are constantly comparing your life and your accomplishments to them, well, that just shows that they are not actively working on their goals. Because if they were, they wouldn't have the energy to be constantly comparing themselves to you. So I can't participate in those type of relationships. I've tried. I used to be the person that would give people the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, maybe they just don't mean it. No, they meant it. That's really how they feel. And I don't want to be in friendship dynamics where I have to tiptoe, where I can't be myself, or I can't share certain things. I'm a very private person anyways. So I personally, over the years, I'm not really going to share much of my wins with anybody. Like, I have a very, 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 very small group of people that I will share like my biggest milestones with. But most of the time, I don't today. Years ago, I used to try to, share things that was going on in my life, and I was looking for validation and someone to be proud of me. But I've noticed, over the years, that's just not really the best approach. And because of that, I don't really share too much anyways. But I'm not really interested in building friendships with people who feel the need to compare and who feel the need to compete, like always trying to one up you. That is so annoying. That is so, like, you can tell somebody you bought this, or you don't even tell them. They just see it. Maybe you bought a car. You bought a car. Okay, you can't hide the car, but for so long, like, you might not post about it, but at some point they're gonna see you pull up. Now they want to talk about, oh, well, I'm gonna go get this, or I have a friend, they have a 2010, or no, they have a 2030 car, and it's just like, dang, like, why can't you just say good job? Why can't you say I'm proud of you? Why can't you just say I see you? Why does it have to be all of this? Like, you post in your content, now all of a sudden they want to be a content creator. It's just like, it's always trying to one up you. And that shit is annoying. It's draining. God, it doesn't go anywhere. Friendships like that, they don't go anywhere because they're always looking at what you do and comparing it to themselves. And if, like I said, if they're not someone who is actively working on themselves and working towards their goals, it doesn't even align anymore. It's just, no, I'm good. I am good. Okay. The next type of woman that I am not interested in building deep connections with. And again, when I talk about friendships, the term friend to me is deep. It's not surface level. Otherwise, I put you in the acquaintance category. I think everyone has their own definition of the word friend, but just know that when I say friend, I'm referring to somebody they're in my inner world. Like, we talk regularly, maybe not every day, right? But we do talk regularly, or we check in. These are people who might have come to my house before. They know where I live. These are people, they just know a little bit more than the average person. That's what I refer to as a friend. Otherwise, if it's not that level, you're an acquaintance, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm just clarifying what I mean by friend, okay? Another type of woman that I'm not interested in building a deep connection with is a woman who is always in chaotic situations. You ever had that friend in their whole life could be a reality TV show? I have, and I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want you calling me every time something crazy goes on in your world, which is regularly, and you're telling me about all the chaos and this happened and that happened. It's just like this big to do. It's like, dang, like, why do you have so why do you have so much drama in your life? Like, this is someone who, again, is not self-aware. We are the common denominator in our own life. And I truly believe now, at my big age, if your life is full of chaos, that's because you're chaotic. You're toxic. If you are around a whole bunch of toxic people, that's because you're toxic. Otherwise, it wouldn't align. You wouldn't be able to get along with somebody if you were not, right? And I don't have time for it. I love my peace. I like my slow mornings. I love my soft life. Like, I don't want your chaos in my world. And a lot of times people think, well, you don't have to take it in. Like, you can listen. No, that starts to wear on you. It really does. It really starts to drain you slowly, subtly, but surely it will. You are a reflection of the 5 people you spend the most time with or you talk to the most. And I don't want chaos in my world anymore. I've been there, I've done that, and it's not fun. I like peace. Like, if we hang out, I don't want to be talking about this and that and the police were called and what? What? And this is like your regular thing? You get into fights? What? You hit somebody? You pulled up at their job and did what? Like, whoa. At this point, your life needs to be a reality show, and I will watch from the TV, but I don't want to be in the mix. I just, look, look, no, I'm good. Like, when I sit down to talk to people, I want to talk about stuff that's productive. Like, I don't want to talk about fucking restraining orders and what are we even talking about right now? Like, I don't want that nonsense in my life. Like, yeah, everybody has things they go through. But again, this video is about the consistency of these problems, right? You might experience a little bit of comparison, right? Okay, we all do. That's what I said. But when you're consistently comparing, we got a problem. Everybody has chaotic moments in their life, right? We all do. But when you are everyday chaos soap opera, we got a serious problem. And honestly, I'm not really interested in your friendship. I'm good. I'm good. Just count me out. Like, I don't have time for that. I'm too old. I'm just like, no. I'm good. The next type of woman that I am not interested in building, honestly, whether it's a deep connection, surface level connection, the woman who is in victimhood, that we're not aligned, because I take ownership for all of the problems that I have had in my life. I have told you guys I have been in toxic friendships, and with those discussions, with those talking points, I always talk about the things that I struggled with, which led me to being in those type of friendships in the first place. I take responsibility for the problems that I have. When I've been broke, I recognize it's because I was living above my means, which are things that I was doing to myself. It wasn't the man, it wasn't white supremacy, it was me, right? Like, I don't have time for that. And if you are the woman who always puts the blame on everybody else, oh, you're a victim, they did this, they did that, nobody likes me. Girl, shut up. Please just shut up. Like, I cannot, because that's draining. Like, oh my God, it's always someone else's fault. It's always this man's fault. You can't find a good man. No, maybe you're just not a good woman. I just, look, that victimhood shit, no, I can't. And sometimes if you're not careful, because see, I wasn't always self-aware, right? I'm very self-aware now. But before, when I would be in those type of friendship dynamics, it was kind of like, I don't think the word is trauma bonding, because trauma bonding is more or less like a push and pull method, but it was more like, let's talk about our problems and see who has the biggest problem, right? Like, so we just bounce our problems back and forth onto each other. Like, okay, you tell me about your horrible relationship, and I'm going to tell you about mine, right? And we just bounce it back and forth. Oh yeah, your man did this. Well, my man did this. Well, my man did this. It's just like, where are we getting with this? Like, what is the outcome of this conversation? Literally the entire time we're connecting is through shared horrible experiences. That's not healthy, like at all. And you're not a victim. Yeah, life sucks sometimes. Life's sometimes. Yes, stresses sometimes. But if you're always in victimhood, it's always woe is me. Listen, I'm a very positive person. I've been like that for years. And I don't want to hear it. You can share things that you've gone through, but then the question becomes, so what are you going to do about it? And if there's no action plan, and every time we talk, you're just getting yourself into a deeper hole, and it's year after year, victim, girl, I'm good. And I've noticed you can kind of pick up on it ahead of time before you even allow it to get into years of this type of friendship. Again, this goes back to awareness and being able to see the patterns early so that you can bow out before you get too deep in, right? And the way I've been able to determine what kind of woman I'm dealing with is by letting them talk. Listen, for people who struggle with social anxiety, I used to as well. One thing I have noticed is people love to talk about themselves, right? And I allow them to do that. Like I said, I'm a very private person, especially these past few years. I don't really share too much. Like, I'm interacting, I'm not like just sitting here listening to you tell me all your secrets and I'm just like making assessments in my head. I'm talking too, but I let people tell me who they are. That is a skill. If you just sit back and you just let people talk, they will tell you what kind of person they are. And if you are aware, if you are awakened, you will detect who you're dealing with, right? You'll detect it pretty quickly. Within 1 to 2 interactions, if you let them do most of the talking, you will know who you're dealing with. And so then you can slowly bow out. You don't have to send a long text. Okay, you don't have to do all that. It doesn't have to be chaos and I just decided. You don't even have to do that. Just respond a little bit more slowly. Don't plan things. Just kind of let it fizzle out, and it will. And that's not toxic. That's just you protecting your space. That's just you recognizing that where they're at in life and where you're at in life just don't align. That doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're not deserving of friendships. They're just not aligned for the type of friendship that I'm offering. How about that, right? I can't do that victim stuff. And none of my platforms, I spend a lot of time on my content, and I really am a content creator. I spend a lot of time making videos and, going live and all that stuff. I don't even preach victimhood on any of my platforms. On none of my TikToks, on none of my Instagrams, on none of my YouTube channels, because I feel like we're empowered and we all have more control over our lives than we give ourselves credit for. And if you're not willing to see that and you want to keep putting the blame on other people and not putting it on yourself, well, then we just don't really have anything to talk about, because I don't operate like that. I really don't. So, and again, there's nothing wrong with going through something and you're just venting, but we're not about to be venting every time I talk to you, girl. Like, at some point we got to talk about something of substance, not who did what. I don't want to hear that shit every time we hang. Girl, no. So victims, no. Another type of woman that I am not interested in building deep connections with are women who love to gossip. Now, we all like a little tea. We all like a little tea, right? Ain't nothing wrong with wanting a little tea to spice up your life. But every time we talk, you gossiping about what you done seen, what you done heard, who done did what. Now I gotta ask myself, okay, when I'm not in your presence, what are you running back and saying about me? Clock it. Clock it. What are you running back and saying about me? This is another reason why I don't talk. I already know. Again, I'm older. I'm wiser. I've spent a lot of time by myself, so I see through the smoke screen. I know what time it is. If someone's sitting around gossiping about this person, that person, especially if these are people that they are close with or that they deal with, you would be a fool, a big fool, to not think that they're not doing the same thing with you. Girl, wake up. No, there's so much more that we could talk about than who's dating who and who did what with what and who said this and who said that. I don't really want to talk about it. Like I said, a little bit here and there, sparingly, a little tea. Okay, it's fun. I think most women do that, right? Here and there, sparingly. Not every interaction. Why you got so much information on somebody's life? Like, are you digging for this information? Like, are you on their social media? Like, how do you know this? Where did you get this from? Like, what are we even talking about? So, no. No, ma'am. And then again, I want to talk about stuff that's productive. I'm not sitting here saying we got to talk about business strategies, but I am saying, like, let's talk about something that matters. Like, let's talk about what trips we want to take for the year. Let's talk about what we're going to cut out of our life to save more money. Let's talk about our goals. Maybe I'm boring. Maybe I am boring. It could be me. I could be extremely boring. I don't know. Maybe I am, but I like boring. I like boring. Boring is peaceful. Boring is stress-free. Boring is discipline. Boring is beautiful. When I was younger, I used to hate boredom. Now I thrive in it. Like, and honestly, I don't think I'm boring. Like, I think my life is amazing, right? But I'm saying I don't have chaos. I don't have gossip because I be with myself. So what am I gossiping about? Unless I'm, telling you about something I seen on the Housewives of Potomac. Like, I don't have people in my life to gossip about anyways. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really need that around me. I love structure. Like, I just love structure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm following the map for this latch hooking thing that I'm working on. I just like structure, and to most, that's boring. So I have accepted the fact that I'm just a boring 35-year-old lady. Okay. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need updates on people's lives. Every time we hang out, I'm good, right? Another type of woman that I am not interested in building deep connections with are the type of women who do not respect your boundaries. Listen, let me tell you something. Your boundaries are put in place to protect your peace, to protect your happiness and the things that you have built for yourself. You can't assume that people know your boundaries right off gate, right? You can't assume that because everyone operates at different levels, different frequencies. What's common sense to you is not common sense to somebody else, right? We have to understand that we are all different. But when you have expressed the boundary and then they still choose to walk over the boundary and test you, well, just know that you and I cannot be friends. I'm not with that. If I tell you I don't like something and then you keep doing, you've acknowledged it, you've said, okay, so I know that you heard me, right? We had this discussion and then you still choose to not respect the boundary. Well, then that just lets me know you don't respect me. You don't respect my peace. You don't respect my happiness. You don't respect my business. You don't respect whatever the boundary is, right? So then I'm just going to have to bow out. I'm just going to have to bow out, right? I used to always give people the benefit of the doubt. Oh, well, maybe she didn't mean it, or maybe she forgot. Listen, that's neither here nor there. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe they did forget. I don't know. But I know I told you. I know I told you what I don't like, and you're still choosing to do it. That just means you don't really respect me, and that's fine. You don't have to, but then just respect the fact that we're not going to be friends. I'll speak to you in passing. If I see you, I'll give you a head nod. I'll say, hey, what's up? But we're not about to sit there and act like everything's all good, because it's not. Like, that's not okay. And nobody can tell you if you're doing too much with your boundaries. Your boundaries are for you. So they don't have to agree with the boundary, but they have to respect it. They have to respect it. Like, it is what it is. Your boundary is to protect your peace. So, they either get with it or they get lost. And I really believe that people who are aligned with you, it's okay. They're going to respect it. They may not agree. They may not understand it. They may be like, what? But they respect it though, right? Totally different type of person. The person, like, maybe, okay, boundary. Let's talk about it. One thing that I used to do, and this isn't playing victim because at the end of the day, it's my fault, right? I used to overextend. So, like, let's say I would loan somebody some money, right? And I never would, like, let's say they would keep asking. I would just continuously give, like, if I had it. Like, if I didn't have it, I didn't have it. But, and it wasn't always like large amounts. It could have been like $20 here, $50 there, right? It doesn't have to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But there was I didn't have a boundary like, girl, you haven't even paid me back for the last, whatever I gave you, right? Well, now, if someone was to ask me to borrow money, right? Let's just say if. I don't have anyone asking me that anymore because I ain't got no friends. But let's just say if, okay? If that was to happen and somebody, a friend, whatever, asked me to borrow money, I would say, depending on how much it was and if I had it to give, my boundary, I actually got this off of a YouTube video talking about boundaries, and this is a golden boundary. Let's say they asked me for, I don't know, let's say they asked to borrow $200. I would say, well, first of all, I would look to see if that's something I can even give, right? And let's say I couldn't. Let's say I didn't have $200 to give. I would say, okay, I can't give you $200, but I can give you $50, right? Under the pretenses of you are not to ask me for any more money moving forward. And when I give this $50 to you, you don't have to pay it back. I'm giving it to you. I'm not loaning it. I am giving it to you. But do not ask me for money again. And that's the boundary. And they either accept it or they don't. Now, if they're just trying to milk you anyways, they're probably going to get mad, or they're going to go silent on you. They're going to do that whole ghosting shit because they want you to chase them. But then that just shows you what kind of person you're dealing with and what kind of purpose they wanted you to serve in their life, right? They wanted you to be their bank account. But someone who respects you, they'll be like, okay, like, no questions asked. All right, cool. I appreciate, you giving me this $50. I won't ask for money again. And that protects you, because one thing that I hated being was the friend that people felt like they could ask for money. Because I feel like people don't even really respect you. Like, if you and we're not talking about family, even though family shouldn't be excluded, because sometimes your family will do you worse than your friends. But I just feel like when people keep asking you for money, it shows you a couple of things. One, it shows you they don't have a handle on their life, and they really just can't be a good friend to you in the moment anyway, because their life is just so chaotic. And then two, it just shows you the misalignment, because why is it that you can manage your finances enough to get through your dark times, but this person is always asking you for money? You're not their lifeline. Your resources are yours. Like, God gave that to you, not to everybody else. It doesn't make you a bad person because you don't want to give people your money. No. And then two, it protects you from feeling disappointed in the person if they don't pay you back. That is by far the best way to end a friendship. When someone promised to give you back some money that you lent them and then they don't, oh, you can cancel Christmas. You can cancel Christmas because you're going to always, and it doesn't matter how much it is. It's the principle. Like, even if someone said they was going to pay you the $10 back, let's say you lent them $10, maybe their card wasn't working, right? Sometimes shit just happens. And you just be like, all right, cool. Just pay me back when you get home or when you get your new card. Like, it don't even be that deep. But you, in the back of your head, you are expecting them to pay you back. And then they don't, but you see them going out to eat. You see them buying this. You see, like, you're in your head like, dang, like, this girl didn't even give me back the $20 that I lent her. You know what I'm saying? So to avoid all of that, I'm going to give you this money and I'm not going to expect it back. But just know you are to not ask me for no money no more. Like, we just gonna end it. We gonna dead it right there. Like, there have been times like, okay, this happened. I think this happened like last year. I don't really go out like that. Okay, I'm a homebody. I'm introverted as hell. I told her that. If I do go out to eat, I pretty much go to the same places. Like, I do go to Kava, right? So I know how Kava works. I do go to Chipotle from time to time, so I know how Chipotle works, right? I'll go to Whole Foods. So I frequent like the same places, right? And so when I'm out, I'll use my phone to pay, like, cause I have Apple Pay on my phone. But some places, believe it or not, don't have Apple Pay. Like, I was like mind blown. I was like, what? Y'all don't have Apple Pay? Like, it is 2025, right? This is last year, so 2025. I'm like, y'all don't have Apple Pay? But see, I'm assuming that all places have Apple Pay, because why would you have an establishment without Apple Pay? Like, I'm still confused. But this restaurant I went with this girl that I had met, did not have Apple Pay. And so when the bill came, I was like, I'm gonna use Apple Pay because I didn't know. So I'm like, I'm prepared to use my phone. And then the cashier or the waitress was like, yeah, we don't have Apple Pay. I was like, what? I was like, well, is there a way you can plug in the card? Like, how do we get through this situation? Because I only have Apple Pay. And so the girl I was with, she was like, oh, it's okay. I'll pay for it. I was like, no. We got to make sure this Apple Pay, like, so I can't just give you the card number and you type it in your computer. Like, and she's like, no, sorry. We got to have the debit card. I was like, wow. Okay. And so the girl I was with, she was like, oh, no, it's okay. I'll just pay for it. So she paid for it. And before we got up, I was like, what's your Cash App? Because I'm about to send you the money. Because because I might forget. And again, it's not even, I don't think people always do it on purpose. Like, you may forget, but I don't want to forget to give you back your money. I don't want you to have to ask me or hunt me down. I don't want that. No. So I didn't. I sent it to her via Apple Pay. So I just sent her the money through that with the tip. So yeah. Yeah, right. I didn't even let it get that far where I'm at home and I might have genuinely forgot. I don't know. We not doing that. We not finna do that. But that's my point. Like, people, your boundaries are your boundaries, and that's just how it is. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And people who respect it, they fall in line. And people who don't, they can kick rocks. But at the end of the day, your boundaries are there to protect you from chaos. You know, your peace is important. Your happiness is important. So if people don't want to respect your boundaries and they keep trying to cross your boundaries, well, then, it just is what it is. But those just aren't the type of women that I want to be friends with. Point blank, period. But leave a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.